The goal of the show is to help you break in and thrive in advertising. And we do that every single week by sharing the stories and advice of those rocking it on the other side. And on our LinkedIn, we post advertising news you need to know in 60 seconds or less every single day. Follow us at Breaking Entering Media. Turn on post notifications. It's unlike any other news you've ever seen before. Today, we're bringing in Jason Apaliski, who is the CCO at Pereira O'Dell, or POD, as we call it in this show. He's been there for 17 years, which in agency years is basically forever. And we dig into why. From being mentored by PJ Pereira to now shaping the next generation himself, Jason shares how he's stayed inspired and grown within one singular shop. And we'll talk about POD's place in global service plan network, the nimble approach to creativity that they do, especially with Bisquick and Fargo fans. This one is for you. And what makes POD or Pereira O'Dell different in the sea of agencies. He's going to open up about his early days from wanting to be an art teacher to his first quote unquote terrible first portfolio to breaking in via Creative Circus and landing a job at AKQA. And of course, we end with his advice for those trying to break in today. So if you're navigating your own creative career journey, this one is for you. Now on with the show. This is the Breaking and Entering Advertising Podcast, and as usual, I'm your accomplice, Gino Schellenberger. Kick it, Mikey. All right, Jason Apaliski, welcome to the Breaking and Entering Advertising Podcast. How are you doing today, sir?
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. It's a good day to be here.
This is going to be awesome. CCO Pereira O'Dell, is this correct, sir?
That is correct. You have done your facts.
Oh my goodness gracious! We are in for a treat. I was asking you beforehand. Does it get much higher in the creative world than CCO nowadays?
You know, it's definitely up there, but there's still PJ hanging around.
Oh yeah.
You know, the all ever being mentor that I've had. So there's maybe a little bit more room to grow.
Okay.
But hopefully PJ's around for a while.
That's right. So we're gonna learn about you. We're gonna learn about what's going on at Pereira O'Dell. What can we POD? What do we?
Yeah, POD works. Yeah.
What's going on at POD? What's next for POD, and then how you got into all this. And do you regret getting into advertising, and then advice for the next generation.
All right, let's do it.
All right. So first and foremost, what do you like to do outside of work, unless it's all work, which is cool too?
No, I mean, if it was all work, I don't know if I'd be good at what I do. You got to have those like outside experiences. But I like cooking. That's kind of like my go-to.
Gotcha.
It's like a nice little unwind from everything else.
Okay, when you don't feel like cooking, what restaurant or what's your go-to restaurant?
My go-to restaurant, here in New York, I love going to the Tiger. It's like my place to go when I'm in town. It's like this Asian fusion type place. And at home, there's this in San Francisco is where I'm from. There's this place called Florio. It's like this tiny little Italian spot in Fillmore Street.
Jack, have you heard of this?
No, I was hoping I would.
Come
know.
on,
it's on Fillmore. It's this tiny little spot. It's been there for ever.
Goodness.
It's not hip and cool though. It's just a little neighborhood kind of joint.
Dang it!
Yeah.
Those are the coolest.
It's like
too.
Fillmore and Bush. It's right next to what is it? SPQR. Do you know that spot?
Yeah,
it's
I
right
do.
And then Rohnberger is just down the way.
That would have been so sick. I would have freaked out if I knew the spot too.
Yeah. Well, there you go. You got something to look forward to next time you're out there.
Love it. So you've been at POD for 17 years. Is that correct?
It's been a minute. Yeah.
It's
been a while.
What is that in agency years? It's times 7.
I think I've lived at least 4 agency lives by now.
17 times 7, Jack. Need that. Come on, Jack. This is our finance.
119.
119. You have 119 years at POD. Jack is our head of finance, and he's our accounting person, so that's great that you got that number right. It's remarkable. What has kept you there for so long, and how do you approach mentoring the next generation of creative talent and making sure the agency's good for the next folks?
It's wild being there for as long as I have. I think I keep coming back because of there's 2 things. I think it's the opportunity that I think has been given to me over the years to continue to kind of grow and move up in the ranks, and the kind of the culture that comes around with that. So it has kept me coming back time and time and time again. Like I started out as a senior creative, so I'd worked with PJ and Andrew, the Pereira O'Dell of POD, over at AKQA, and they brought me on, and Rob Lambergs, who's now our CSO, as like a senior team. They were kind of a go-to. We probably had no business being within this like startup world, but they gave us a shot. And like with that opportunity, led to other ones. And so now being the CCO, I've just kind of kept taking advantage of opportunities that were getting in front of me. And now I get the opportunity to kind of give those to the next people that come up.
I like that, because I guess like you can find opportunity within the agency you're at. Like, I've heard the advice like you might have to go to different shop to get other brands and stuff like that. So like, I guess how do you balance that? Like,
yeah, I mean, I think for us, I think we really kind of gravitate towards people that are, of course, like hungry and ambitious to do creative work, but also just want to kind of like get into it and like not just have an opportunity come to them, but seek out those opportunities. And I think it's like how I was kind of brought up and how PJ sort of like raised me within AKQA. And I think what we try to do now is like encourage people to say like, hey, can I jump on this? Or, hey, can I get over on this project? I saw that they were working on this. And I will never tell someone no unless I'm like, seriously, you got too many things right now. But, like give people as many shots as they're willing to take is kind of how I feel.
I love that.
Yeah.
So give me the rundown of POD today, and how it fits in the service plan group as well.
Yeah.
I need that background.
The background, so service plan, we have been with them now for, it's almost like 5 years, I think.
Yeah.
And, I think within the last probably like year to 2 years, we're really finding our stride to work together. I think we've done some great stuff. I mean, you've kind of seen how, us with service plan have really, kind of been in the spotlight. A couple of independent.
I saw you guys last night at the Andes. You guys were getting awards there.
Yeah, it's been great. Like that kind of relationship and us being service plan's entry point into the U.S. has been great. It's been this kind of give and take back and forth of how we can work together to kind of, spread some of that success that service plan has had abroad here to the U.S. along with, our partners with Media Plus and LNC. There's a few of us that kind of sit within that service plan world that are like really leveraging each other to kind of build the best work that we can for our partners.
Where are they based out? They're in Germany?
Germany. Yeah, it's like the foundation. Yeah. That's where but they've got spots all over the globe.
Yeah.
But their home base is there in Germany.
So they want to make a presence in the U.S. and they hit you guys up, and you guys are like, let's do this.
Let's do it. I mean, we had, backers before, and I think, it was there. It was a little bit more transactional. So I think when we were looking to bring a new kind of partner on, we wanted someone that we could help grow and they could help us grow as well. And they were the perfect fit for us to kind of do that while maintaining our independence. With them being an independent network, they very much pride themselves on their independence, as we have for as long as we've been around. So it made it a natural fit for the way that we like to work.
Got it.
Yeah.
So can you tell me about like some of the clients that you guys are working on today? What are you most excited about?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a couple. Like if you're for service plan, we have a couple of accounts that we've like integrated on. Lufthansa is one of them. So globally, it's held through service plan in Germany, but one of the main teams is based here in New York, and then we have partnered with all of the U.S. kind of campaigns that go along with the global campaigns there. So that's one where we are really, really tightly knit from Germany and service plan and the strategic and creative work that's being done there, and how we've integrated with our strategy and creative to kind of implement the campaigns here in the U.S.
Yeah. So how do you define it? Like what does it make, like what makes you all different compared to other agencies out there, whether it's holding companies, smaller, mid-size, like independent, private equity backed, whatever mid-dependents we're calling them. Like, I guess what do you guys hang your hat on?
I think we have always been at our best when we are kind of combining or living at the intersection of advertising, technology, and entertainment. Like historically, if you look at some of the work that we've done, it's always kind of pulled on those things and brought them together to create kind of new creative solutions for people. So I think, when we can do that for clients, it's like definitely something I feel like is different from the way that other people approach it. And it's all in service of, bringing these big ambitions to life for our clients.
Give me something. Give me an example.
An example. All right, let's see. Like the latest one that I think we've done, I think it was for Bisquick, I think, and Fargo. It was a reactionary thing. So General Mills and Bisquick were one of our clients, and Fargo, the season finale, was happening. And Bisquick was like an underlying kind of thematic in there, and it played a very central role. I'm not going to spoil it for anybody who hasn't been caught up on it, but it played a very central role in the finale. And so we took advantage of this moment that Bisquick was in and created this custom box that was an ode to the main character that was whipping up these biscuits, and released it at a small store in the Midwest for that specific audience. So we tapped into the technology part for here. I think was more of like a social first kind of thought, entertainment, the project that was there, and trying to reach audiences. So that was a really quick, kind of nimble one that we kind of put together.
Nimbility,
yes,
is so important. I love it. All right, let's bring it back then. How do you break into this business? What was the first job? This is the name of the show, Breaking Entering.
Yeah.
Like even before that, when did you decide you want to make ads for a living? What were you wearing? What were you drinking? Do you regret it?
All of the above. I'll like, there was one point, and there's a couple of like pivotal points, I guess, but I was in college, and I went to college to be like an art teacher.
Cool.
I was studying art history and that sort of thing, and it was a long time ago, but I thought like computers and all that were like the antithesis of anything that was art. I hated it. But I had like a mid-college life crisis where I was downing too many like Red Dogs, and decided that teaching wasn't going to be for me or the way out.
Okay.
So I started dabbling in graphic design, and that really kind of unlocked like, oh, actually I can take sort of like what I know about art and how I approach that, but also bring like a little bit of a business creative solution to something. And that kind of unlocked a path forward. So from there, I left college with a terrible portfolio, which I thought was great at the time, but come to find out it wasn't great. But I took a more traditional path where I went to an advertising school. So I went to the Creative Circus.
Yep.
And
it's back now.
It's back. Berwin is at the head there. He's a good dude. He was one of the ones that made a big impression on me when I was there at the time. Him and Dan Balzer and Sylvia. Like, there's a great group of mentors, teachers there that really kind of set the stage.
Love Balzer.
Yeah. He's a good guy.
He's at the academy now.
Yeah. He's doing big. He's doing great things. He's always had such a passion, I think, for the industry and advertising and students, and he's fantastic.
Yeah, he's got a great podcast too. Was it Don't Get Me Started?
Don't Get Me Started.
Yeah.
That was, man.
That's the OG.
That's the old.
Yeah.
It goes way back.
He's good.
Yeah.
So you went to Creative Circus. How long did it take for you from the realization that your book might have sucked, so then therefore I must go to Creative Circus? Was that pretty fast?
Well, it was one of those things where I graduated and I had this portfolio of, it was mostly, so I majored in graphic design and communication arts. So and it didn't take long because I was back home at my parents' house and back at the same surf shop that I worked at for 5 or 6 years.
That's sick.
That
is sick. And why do you want to break into advertising?
And I was like, I'm not gonna live my life. I love Virginia Beach, where I grew up.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't stay here. Like, I had just this itch to, like, I had to get out. And so I quickly was like, okay, what am I gonna do? I got to go to grad school. I got to do something. I can't just stay here and get sucked back into this world. Like, I'd seen people that had done that, and I just didn't want to be
dope lives.
I mean, they're living good lives too. So maybe I made the wrong choice. I don't know. But I was quickly like, okay, I got to find a way to break into the industry. And for me, it was portfolio school. So I had looked at the Creative Circus and Portfolio Center, and I had started considering like just going back to school in general. But at the time, the circus had this track record of helping people break in. That was kind of their whole thing, is that they would give you the foundational skills that you need, build a portfolio, and they had all of the connections because everyone there was, industry folks. So that's the track that I was like, okay, that looks like the fastest way to get in, craft a better portfolio and get out. And I was only there for a year because I think I had a lot of like foundational skills. I just didn't have the conceptual kind of like polish that I needed to kind of like make better work.
Art direction focused then? Is that what you specialize
So
in?
I was still design. So
Gotcha.
I was, for half the time, I still was more of a design track. And they introduced this thing called super teams at the time, which was like, it's kind of a funny name to have.
Okay.
But where they partnered copywriters, art directors, and designers together to work on briefs.
Yeah.
And that's where the next unlock was like, oh, okay, this is really interesting because we weren't coming up with just a print ad. We were coming up with like creative ideas and solutions. And that really was like a pivotal moment for me because at the time, I really didn't like advertising when I went to the Creative Circus because my perception of it was an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper with like a fun visual and a witty headline. And I was like, that felt so limiting to me. And I know now it's very foundational. Like you got to be able to like craft and simplify your story, but it just felt like limiting. And so I wanted more. And this idea of super teams really unlocked like, okay, it doesn't have to be that. It can be a whole world of things that you can come up with that can make, can connect with people.
Absolutely. It's important to have like the fundamentals. And I love the idea of that super team. We call them like our high squads.
Yeah.
Like you got it, like art director, copywriter, strategist, and throw in a designer in there too. That sounds the Fantastic Four.
It was great. I mean, I think it changed a lot for a lot of the people that were working on that because we were allowed to explore like different things. Right. And a lot of the work that we did then ended up on portfolios, which I think kind of unlocked a lot of, opportunities for the folks that went through that program.
And you got that love back for the industry, I
did. I mean, it's everything to me because I think like this is what's great about advertising is that there is not a predefined, there's not a predefined thing of what it has to be.
Correct.
Especially today. It can be anything. And I think having that kind of spirit and that kind of thought is that's where you see the best work.
Absolutely. So you stay there for a year. It's usually a 2-year program, but you're dipping out because you're feeling good about your portfolio. You got a job offer?
So I did they set up portfolio reviews, and so they had one in San Francisco, and I always wanted to live on the West Coast. I had visions of what it would be to live on the West Coast. Little did I know San Francisco was not that vision, but it still worked out great. I've been there for 20 years. So
sure.
I was looking for Virginia Beach West, which come to find out is like San Diego, which is maybe not where I want to go to work in advertising, but so went to a portfolio review and met a bunch of really interesting folks there, and I got a couple of interviews going out of that. Like I interviewed at McCann and AKQA, where I ended up, and a couple of design shops as well.
Gotcha.
Goodby. I went Goodby, McCann, AKQA, Kahan and Associates, which was like a small design firm there.
Sure.
And I think there was one other place too. But so I had some opportunities and kind of went around and met a couple of different folks. And I don't know, PJ did his PJ thing, and I've been hooked ever since.
I love it. So then you broke in right there.
I did. That was the moment. It was me going to that portfolio review and meeting folks. PJ seeing something in me.
Was it the portfolio combined with personality, vision, hunger? Like, what is the secret sauce?
That would be a great question for Peach. I've never asked him that specifically, like what he saw. I kind of just like trusted him at the time. But I think it was a little bit, I would like to think it was a little bit of like the type of thinking, hopefully the personality a little bit, and then for what he was trying to do at that time, I think he was just looking for like young, hungry creatives that weren't necessarily jaded by what it could be or couldn't be, but just wanted to make stuff. And I think at that time, Rob and I had that was what we wanted to do. We were like, we just want to get in and make stuff.
Yeah. And it ended up working out. What is the youth movement? I'm looking at the notes here.
Is that a no?
That's a no. Ask about the youth movement.
No, youth movement. Man, I want a youth movement. I think that was in reference to at the agency now, seeing like you guys too, like what the energy that you bring and the new perspectives you bring. It's like, for me, it's something I've been really focused on for the agency is tapping into this younger generation of creatives, either by bringing them in or trying to mentor where I can. I just think it's something that maybe I just feel it at our agency, but I think in the industry as well, the pandemic really kind of screwed it up for a lot of folks, I feel like. And for me, I feel like the onus is on myself to give this next generation the same opportunities that I had growing up in the industry, and things that PJ kind of gave back to me that I want to be able to do now. And so I think for me, it's like, okay, how can I help, get this next generation into the industry? And then also, how can I give them the opportunities that I had at our own agency? So it's something that I've been looking forward to coming into this new year with some of the momentum that we have, is trying to rethink how we approach bringing in young talent, not just creatively, but across the board in the agency, because there's such a new perspective and new energy that comes with it that it's refreshing. It kind of keeps me energized when I'm around people like that. It reminds me of why I got in the business, and how we should think about the way we approach the work.
I guess, like, talking to the next generation, like, what advice do you have for them trying to get their first job, whether they're at an undergrad or maybe they're in a different career field right now, they want to break in, or they're just leaving portfolio school, they all want to go into an ad agency? What would you tell them?
Oh, man. I mean, I think for me is like, you got to do what you love in it. Like, don't make the work that you think is right. Like, make the work that you want to make, and that's the thing. If that's there, I think people will see it in the work that you have. Yeah. Like when I look at books, one of the first things I do is go to the About Me page on them. I want to see what they're about as a person. Mm-hmm. What are they into? What are the things that, drive their curiosity or the interest that they have? And, because I think it gives you like a little bit of like mindset of like, okay, what type of person is this going to be? Because a lot of what we do is being able to just like talk and like shoot the shit and figure stuff out. So I think that's super important, is like know who you are and like let that come through and however you're going to present yourself. Because I think that'll be a huge unlock, totally. Like whether it's on a website or on your social channels or wherever you're going to show up, as long as that's like consistent all the way through. Totally. I think you're going to have a great success kind of breaking in.
Yeah, you like after the fundamentals of learning the craft that you're going to specialize in, like whether it's art direction, copywriting, strategy, whatever it might be, and then you can showcase like your personality. You got to bring your perspective into the work as well.
Exactly.
And that's what I feel like people forget. They're looking at the different portfolio schools and they're trying to copy the work exactly how it looks and how it feels. But if you're doing that, it's not authentic to you.
Exactly.
So I think it's good to reference other portfolios for like, how do they actually like format their site? Like that's like, okay, it has to have an About Me section, it has to have a work section, it might have some photography, whatever it might be. Yeah. Just for the basics.
Totally.
Of like, where do you put the logo? Like, or just so you can then
there's a couple boxes you got to check.
Yeah.
But then it's important that, again, you're going to see, hundreds of those. So how do you break through on that? And that's usually where it's like, I want your perspective on the work and how you approach stuff and like how you write. Like the personality of the writing is just as important as how conceptual it is.
True. Any sort of like crazy About Me sections you've seen over the years?
There was one of the creative directors we have right now, this guy Matt Kapler. When I was looking at his book, he wasn't a junior, but his About Me just had a demo of him making pancakes, or was it waffles or something like that. Yeah. And it was just him kind of like narrating it. So you got like, I was like, okay, I get a sense of humor. I get a little bit about like what his like style, room presence is. Yep. And it was just like a great little thing. There was all that was there. It was awesome. Like that was, to me, that was like a great example of
It's so funny. We just interviewed Mo Saeed, and he made a portfolio. He made an ad about his friend in his work section. This is my buddy. Like, this is what you should know about him. And then I think he did for like a random chair.
Oh, I was listening to that. He had like his roommate was like about a mustache or something like that. Yeah. Something about it, right? Or like, I forget what it was. Yeah.
I think, and it's just like, he just like showed his whole personality, even through all the work, like way into it. Yeah. So, and it worked for him.
It's such a good thing, man. I mean, like, especially for young people, like it's actually for any level. Yeah. Honestly, it's like so much of this business is relationships and being able to talk and like who you are. Like your personality has to be able to show up, I think, to kind of succeed. Totally.
Any other funny stories that we didn't bring up then, Jason?
You know, I don't know if I've got like one on the top of my head.
Like
as of late,
agency party stories, anything like that.
Man.
Surfing stories.
I am too old for the agency party story. I try to stay out of stay out of the fray for that.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Any surfing stories? You
You
said
know,
you worked in a surf shop.
I wish that I still did.
Yeah.
You know, moving to San Francisco, I was like, oh, this is awesome. I'm gonna go to the beach is right there. I'm gonna be out there every day.
Sharks, though. You can't do that.
Sharks. And that water, what I didn't know at the time was that water is flipping cold.
Oh,
It is
really?
freezing. It's like 50-degree water where it is not East Coast water where it's like nice and warm. You just get out there. It was so my first foray into getting back into surfing on the West Coast was not a good one, and it has been gone ever since. So now I just take to the mountains and go snowboarding instead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. No skiing?
I can't ski.
Gotcha.
That's
Makes
terrifying. Going downhill like face forward. That's like the last thing on earth I'd want to do.
I gotcha. All right, Jason. Well, how can people connect with you if they have questions? They want to send their portfolios to you, or they want to work with you. If they're a brand, what's the way to do it?
I mean, LinkedIn is a place. You can definitely hit me up there. You can email me. I'm not going to give you my phone number, but you can email, LinkedIn. Those are the places that I'm most active on.
Golden. Well, Jason, nice job. Thanks so much for coming on, and I wish you all the best.
All right, appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Boom.
All right, here we go.